Opening up the event, the Women's War Games match, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, and Shotzi defeating Damage Control's Bayley, Kairi Sane, Io Sky, and Asuka. Not the outcome I was hoping for / expecting. I kind of wanted more Damage Control dominance, but you got the Bayley sacrificing herself spot, so that kind of further plants the seeds for her inevitable babyface turn. I already complained about it on Twitter. We joked about it before we hit record here. I didn't like that Becky Lynch won for her team, just because I don't really think the bad blood of Damage Control was with her. I would have rather gone to literally any other woman in the match. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just nitpicking. But I thought the overall match was really good. My biggest issue with it, aside from the finish, was just the excessive amount of weapons. I feel like we did not get as many weapons and all the chicanery and that sort of crap in the men's match, and we typically do. It was just an excessive amount of weapons and stuff in that opening women's match, as it was last year and probably the year before that as well. Your thoughts on Team Becky conquering Damage Control in the match itself?
Yeah, I think we both picked the heel, so I guess we were both wrong there. I thought that the heels would win here, and then the baby faces would win the men's, but I guess we got both of them anyways. So, but no, I thought it was a good match, like you said. Specifically this one, like I feel like a lot of them have been very weapon-based, but the women specifically felt way overdone. The men, like, yeah, I think it was like maybe the first person or second person might have grabbed something, but by the end, everyone else was kind of just running. And for the women, it was like everyone's grabbing weapons. It's kind of like nonsensical too, because their teammates are getting killed and they're just on the outside worrying about getting furniture. But like you said, I was pretty surprised Damage Control lost here, but they are kind of telling like the Sami Zayn story of her kind of like putting herself out there. Obviously, eventually she's going to get turned on, but I thought the story-wise it was good. I didn't really have a issue with Becky winning, but I know you had a little meltdown about that.
Yeah. No, listen, Becky winning wasn't supposed to be the focal point anyway, because I think regardless of who had won here, the end game is the same. That being Bayley being exiled from Damage Control and eventually challenging Io Sky for the WWE Women's Championship. Now, I think it's pretty clear coming out of this pay-per-view, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it probably will be Bayley versus Io at WrestleMania 1-on-1 for the title. Now, as I've said before elsewhere, you could throw in Dakota Kai into a legacy situation where it's all three members of the group in a triple threat for the title at Mania. I love Dakota Kai. She's excellent. She's injured right now. She could be back by the Rumble. I don't know exactly. But even if she is, I don't really think that's necessary. I honestly think it takes away from it. I feel like Bayley and Io, for the way they've both been built up, and Dakota has not been built up at all. And even if she was active right now, she'd be taking pinfall. She would not be being built up. And Bayley's not built up. She's lost a lot this year. But she's a household established name, so it's a bit different. I think Bayley and Io is the match to do. It probably won't main event night 1 or night 2, obviously, but I do think that's a marquee match you can do for the WWE Women's Championship in Mania with Bayley as the babyface, and I feel like that works. And it also gives Bayley her flowers, and she's the only one, I think, I could be wrong, maybe Sasha's the other one, actually, that has not had a singles match at WrestleMania. Becky and Charlotte have the only 4 horsewomen. I don't know if Sasha has. I don't think so. I think she had triple threats and 4-ways and tag team matches. She may have also never had a singles match either. Bayley certainly never has, I don't think. So I do think Bayley and Io just works on a lot of different levels.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think if you really wanted to stretch it out, you could get like the whole group in it. I don't think at this point, I don't even know if Dakota would even be cleared at this point, but at this point, I would just do Io and Bayley. Like you said, I think you could do Dakota as well. I think you put it kind of perfectly. I think Io and Bayley are just on a whole different level. Like, you would have to really build up Dakota. I like Dakota a lot. They really haven't booked her in that kind of role, so she kind of would seem like the third person out, and it kind of seemed weird. Even though they're in the same group, they just haven't put the same focus on her. Mm-hmm. But like you said, right now, I would say it's a good chance to get Io and Bayley 1-on-1, which I like rather than like a multi-match.
Yeah, I think it's a great match to do. In between now and then, you're going to get a lot of storyline developments, I think. It might take some time. I don't think Bayley gets exiled from the group, on Friday's SmackDown or next week. I think they will take their time with it, as they did with Sami Zayn heading into WrestleMania and the Bloodline last year. And there's a lot of different directions you can go in. And I've mentioned this before, and other people have kind of alluded to it. But listen, I actually really like the idea. And I'm not saying it needs to happen or it should happen or whatever, because it's all dependent on her future. Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, She posted a video yesterday on Twitter, on X, whatever, on social media, of her training to come back to the ring. She's been injured since about May. She got injured in a New Japan match where she actually failed to become the inaugural New Japan Strong Women's Champion, losing to Willow Nightingale that night, and she actually finished the match despite being injured, which is commendable. But, she's been doing her thing in Japan all year, and only for those 3 months, because then she got hurt, and she hasn't been around since. She did make an appearance at All In. We haven't seen her talk about AEW since then, show up in AEW since then. Was that a one-off thing? Will she be in at some point? I figured she would be when she was cleared. But there also, honestly, I think there's a pretty good chance that she could be back in WWE as part of this storyline. Now, my biggest issue with Sasha being in WWE earlier this year, coming back, not that I didn't want her back. It was just more so, honestly, I don't blame her for leaving, one. And two, if they don't have a good plan in place for her, then don't come back. Like, I don't want her there just to be there. Like, they have to be able to use her. Because, again, whether you like Sasha or not, I don't really think there's any debate that they weren't doing anything of note with her since the Bianca feud ended in 2021. In 2022, I know she was doing the tag team thing. That was a complete fucking waste of Sasha Banks. Like, she didn't get any mic time, was kind of just flying under the radar and all this other sort of shit. The tag titles were a complete waste of what she could do. For a star of her caliber, she should be doing more, in my opinion. And I think if they bring her back as part of this Bayley storyline, she can bring Bayley back to the light, reunite those two. What you do with her after that is of utmost importance, though. Does she feud with Jade Cargill or Io or another fresh female face on Friday nights? I don't know. But where do you think, or how do you think, and would you want to see Mercedes Moné / Sasha Banks factor into the Bayley storyline? Or do you think it's too soon for her to come back to WWE?
No, I think it makes sense. I mean, I feel like the way we're going now, like you said, with Punk back, I mean, I think I feel like it's just the right move right now. Like you said, I also feel like there is storyline significance to her to come back and help Bayley. Like, Bayley is undermanned. Having Sasha come back to help her would make sense storyline-wise. Like you said, it's kind of realistically what you do with her. I mean, that's kind of like you said, it's her last run. Like, it wasn't her fault. I mean, they really didn't have anything to do with her, but I think there's a ton of women for her to work with. I mean, you could even run her and Kairi back. I know they wrestled in New Japan, but you could do them. I mean, it's part of the storyline. But no, I think if it's not now, then it'd probably be a while, because like you said, like, storyline-wise, it makes the most sense now. So I guess it just kind of depend on that.
Yeah, no, I think, if they pay her what she feels that she's worth, I mean, I think it's very possible we could see her back. I could also see her sticking it out for a little bit longer than coming back in a year or two. She's another one where I think we said at the time, I think it's inevitable before she comes back. Whether it be 6 months, a year, 5 years, she'll be back at some point, undoubtedly. It's more a matter of when than if. I don't think... I don't know if she's done, like, it's been long enough. I mean, she's going to get a big reaction regardless. If her music hit tomorrow on SmackDown, the place would go fucking nuts. I feel like she is the next big name that has been gone from WWE that people would be really excited to see back. So, I don't know if it's going to happen soon. I don't think, if I had to bet on it, would she come in as part of this storyline? My answer is no. I have a strong feeling that she could and maybe will. But I just feel like, I don't know, what has really changed since All In? I mean, I guess Triple H is fully in charge now, but maybe that's the difference maker. I don't know. Because, like, why would you want to tease going to AEW and then not even bother doing that? I don't think she should sign with AEW, for the record. I think I've always said doing a couple matches there, maybe not necessarily winning their championship if she's not signed to a deal, but doing some work with them and working with some of their women before doing your own thing elsewhere, kind of being a freelancer, free agent, whatever, would be better off. I don't think she should be on that AEW roster. I mean, has your mind changed on that, especially with how they've portrayed and booked their women this year?
Yeah, if I was her, I would not go there. I mean, like I said, I think if anything, do something like you said, like maybe like a free agent thing, just to get out there. But like I said, I think Triple H is fully under control. The whole TKO thing's settled. It's not like we really like have that up in the air. Like, that's kind of signed, sealed, delivered. I mean, like I said, I feel like at this point, I think it's the best time for her to come back. Like I said, maybe not. Maybe, like I said, maybe she does a different route. But I don't know. I feel like with the storyline, it makes the most sense. Like I said, bring Bayley to the right side, bring her back babyface, have some backup, and like I said, have some matches with Kairi, Asuka, Io. I mean, the possibilities are endless, realistically.
Yeah, I think it really beefs up that SmackDown women's division. I mean, you already have Charlotte, Bianca in there. Shotzi is not on that same level at all, but you have her there as well. All of Damage Control, and you can add in another female from NXT. Maybe put Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown at some point. I don't know. But that's a pretty good core group of women if you want to go in that direction.